Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining us for this monumental Donor Doc launch event. We're so excited that you are joining us and giving us time today. This isn't just a launch event, it's really a momentous occasion. We are going to let everyone kind of come into the studio, and we want to make sure if people are filling in. So if you have an open seat next to you, just scoot over. I wish we were together in person, but we're grateful that you're here virtually with us today. We're going to get started in just a few minutes, but sit back. We're grateful you're here, and share in the chat where you're calling in from, what are you joining, maybe what the weather is. Again, we'll get started in just a few minutes. We are just grateful that you are here. Again, I just want to welcome everyone that's just joining us. We're going to get started in just a few minutes, but we're so grateful that you're joining us for this Donor Doc launch event where you are going to get to meet Otto. We're so excited about this launch. Again, we're going to get started in just a few minutes, but in the interim, we'd love to meet you. So feel free to share in the chat where you're joining us from. I'm here in sunny Phoenix, Arizona. I think it's going to be 110 degrees today. Where are you calling in from? Where are you joining us for this monumental event? As I mentioned, I'm grateful that you're here, and we will get started in just a few minutes. And in the interim, I'll see you in the chat. All right. Well, welcome everyone. I know I've greeted some of you already, but we're grateful for those that are just joining us. Most people have already done it, but jump into the chat and let us know where you're joining us from for today's Donor Doc launch event. My name is Noah Barnett. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here at Donor Doc, and I want to welcome you. We're so glad you're here. This isn't just another product launch. It's a moment that reflects what we've been building toward for years and what we believe deeply here at Donor Doc. We believe small fundraising teams deserve better tools, not more noise or more complexity, but real help right where it's needed most. We know what it's like to run a small team. You're juggling strategy and stewardship, board reports, and donor outreach. You're wearing every hat and still wondering if what you got done today actually moved the mission forward. And that's why Donor Doc exists. From day one, our focus has been clear: serve small and mighty fundraising teams. You're who we build for, and we're grateful that today we're excited to take the next step in that journey together with you all right now. And so to share what's new and why it matters, I'm excited to invite Donor Doc's co-founders, Matt and Andrew, to the stage to share more. Hey, Andrew. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Noah, thank you so much for the intro.
Yeah, thank you, Noah, so much. Excited to be here. Excited for your excitement, Noah. And, as we sit here today, we have a packed agenda here that we're going to go through over the next hour, hour and a half. First, we're going to talk about just Donor Doc's evolution as both a product, but also as a company. Andrew and I were super excited to introduce you to Otto. We have a great panel of customers who are going to come on and talk about some of their experiences. And then we want you to stick around because we're actually going to go in and do a hands-on product demo where we show Otto in the product and how it works. So a lot to get through today, but we're super excited for it, and we're here to celebrate this day with Otto and DonorDoc. So, Andrew and I were talking yesterday, and we were just kind of reminiscing or thinking back to the very beginning of when we started working on DonorDoc in nights and weekends back in 2018. And back then, I think if you'd have told us that, 8 years later, we'd be bringing together 100 plus nonprofit leaders from around the country to do a product launch like this, I think we would have been really excited about that idea. But we're just so humbled to be here with you today. And I think before we go any further, we just want to tell you that we thank you so much for not only partnering with DonorDoc and trusting us, but also taking the time to spend with us today to learn more about what we're doing and where we're going.
Thanks, Matt, and thanks everyone. When we started DonorDoc, we had a clear belief that small and mighty teams were the backbone of nonprofits across the country. Yet most of the solutions at that time were complex, costly, and they did not match the way those teams worked. That's why we created DonorDoc, something specifically made for those mighty teams. A solution that was simple, intuitive to use, and affordable for those that we set out to serve.
And, we've kind of held on to that. And our why at DonorDoc is, we do what we do every day so that we can help support you in doing the great work that you're doing. And we find that really compelling even today, 8 years later, still really driven by that. But as we've grown over the years, and as we've kind of grown in customer size, as we've grown in team size, and just within the product, there are challenges that we have continually heard over and over and over again from thousands of nonprofits around the country. One is that the should list just keeps growing. Like, we have so many things that we should be doing every single day, and sometimes, or even often, that should list isn't the most important things that need to get done. You add to that it's really difficult to manage like disconnected tools and data. And then we have the universal truth that we hear over and over again, which is that our customers have limited budget, time, and resources. And so you put all of those challenges together, and it creates a really challenging situation where sometimes donor expectations aren't matching the experience we're able to provide. Our donors want to be felt appreciated, they want to be connected to the organization, they want to understand the impact. And when you put all of these challenges together, that actually becomes a really tall task and something that we want to try and help figure out.
And we've continually expanded and improved DonorDoc to try to address these challenges. Early on, we knew that tracking data was just the beginning. We recognize the need that we need to go beyond the core CRM functionality. Nonprofits also need to focus on growing, nurturing, and activating data to strengthen their donor relationships. And that insight led us to create the first version of our action board, now a fundamental piece of DonorDoc that helps teams prioritize the most important events around donor stewardship. From there, we launched built-in outreach tools for creating email templates, sending email campaigns. We expanded our focus to online giving to provide a secure and seamless donation experience. And we introduced new ways to connect with donors with text campaigns, and to keep donor relationships strong and personal, text conversations. And the action board has continued to evolve to lean into productivity. And more recently, we launched automations, including pre-built donor journeys, to help fundraising teams save time and stay on track.
But one of the things that we really believed from the very beginning, we actually went back and looked at like our first pitch deck that we had, and it talked about the importance of melding methodology and product together. And so that's something we believed from the very beginning. And so over the last year, we've been working hard on what we call the Smart Steward method, which is essentially the proven process that nonprofits can use when working with DonorDoc built on the foundation of the product. And our goals are very simple with the Smart Steward process. So we want to help our customers be more productive. We want to help raise their confidence that they're getting the most important work done every single day. And by doing those things, we want to align the experience we're able to provide to donors with what their expectations are. And the cool thing about the Smart Steward method is that it is an iterative method, so it changes and it grows as your organization evolves. And so this is something we've been working on for the last year. As you said, we added journeys here not too long ago. That's a key fundamental piece of the Smart Steward method. And this is something we're going to continue to build out over time as we continue to evolve and grow.
Yeah, and as we developed the Smart Steward method, we had a strong realization that it's not just about doing more, it's about doing what matters most.
And it's that relentless pursuit that is driving us to continue to add not only to the product, but to this methodology to help organizations really understand what matters most today and what do we need to get done today. And so with that, we are actually going to jump over and introduce to you Otto.
Otto is your intelligent guide built right into DonorDoc, here to help you stay focused, take action, and keep moving forward with what matters most.
Now, to learn more about Otto's origins, the goals with Otto, and kind of where this came from, we're going to watch an awesome video from Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob, and I want to take a moment to share the heart behind Otto, why we built it, and how it's designed to feel like a partner you trust. At DonorDoc, we've always believed your tools should work for you. It should feel like clarity, not complexity. Otto was designed with that belief at its core. Because let's be honest, whether it's just yourself or you're part of a small fundraising team, you are already juggling so much. You're being pulled in a dozen different directions: campaigns, donors, data, emails, events, and every day feels like a balancing act. It can feel like you're just reacting to the current problem of the day and not accomplishing what will actually make a difference. And so the last thing you need is another system that piles on more work, another tool that adds to the chaos. Because it's not about doing more. It's about focusing on what matters most. That's why we built Otto. Otto was created to be an intelligent guide. It surfaces when you need it, suggesting follow-ups, helping you prioritize, and taking admin tasks automatically off your plate. When you're working in DonorDoc, Otto is there, woven into the background, gently nudging you to take the next best step. Otto can handle the admin work like segmenting your donors, sending out a thoughtful thank you email, or updating donors on their impact. But it also knows when to call on you, like when a warm, personal touch is what matters most. Because Otto isn't here to replace your human touch. It's here to elevate it, to free you from the busy work and help you put your energy into what makes fundraising truly powerful: real relationships. And it goes beyond that. Otto runs automations across the system, segmenting lists, creating tasks, sending emails and texts, updating your team. All those small details that keep your data updated, your team informed, and your donors feeling seen. You can even talk to Otto like you would with another coworker. Ask Otto to help write an email, draft a grant proposal, plan an event, or even find a donor record right inside of DonorDoc. We trained Otto with thousands of resources and best practices in fundraising and nonprofit growth. You now have an expert with deep sector knowledge built right into your CRM to lend a hand in real time and give advice when you need it most. We wanted Otto to feel differently, unlike your typical cold software, and more like a teammate. Someone who's there when you need them, working steadily even when you're away. We intentionally chose an octopus to represent Otto because it's a symbol of adaptability and calm confidence, able to handle many things at once and gracefully pivot in any direction. It's a creature that does more with less, perfectly mirroring the spirit of small fundraising teams. Otto's name was chosen to feel friendly, approachable, and dependable, always there when you need them, and quietly lending a hand so you can focus on what matters most. Even the way Otto talks was thoughtfully designed. Every nudge, every suggestion, it's meant to feel like a helpful teammate and not a taskmaster. Because when you're working on important causes like food security, housing, education, the environment, you deserve tools that feel like they're on your side. Tools that help you breathe easier and not stress more. Otto is live today, woven into every part of DonorDoc, ready to guide, not to overwhelm, ready to help you focus on what matters next with clarity and confidence. We can't wait to see what you'll accomplish with Otto by your side.
As you saw in the video, Otto is more than just AI and a character. Otto is built on the foundation.
Hi, I'm Rob, and I want to take a moment to share the heart behind Otto.
Intelligence to guide you with your daily work. Otto brings the smart steward process to life and ensures you get what matters most done every day.
And as we said, Otto built right on the foundation of DonorDoc and going to help with the Smart Steward method. Super exciting. We love the Otto character. We actually have Otto behind us on our shelf here with us today. But next, we're actually going to jump over and Noah is going to lead a customer panel here. So with some of our great customers, you're going to hear some more about their experiences. But after that, we're going to jump in and Bridget's going to show you Otto inside the product. We're going to go a little bit deeper there. So definitely stick around for that. And with that, we're going to hand it over to Noah.
Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Rob. It's exciting to see where we're headed and how Otto builds on the same belief that's guided DonorDoc since the beginning, that small teams deserve tools that help them focus on what matters most and actually get it done. Now, I'm so excited because you get to hear from a few teams who've been doing just that. While they haven't used Otto quite yet, because we just launched it in the app this morning, they've been using DonorDoc in powerful ways to stay organized, engage supporters, and move their missions forward with clarity and focus. Please join me in welcoming Pam from the Cystic Fibrosis Association of North Dakota, and Kristen, Miguel, and Gio from Love Inc. of Mill Delmarva to the stage. Hey, everyone.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Pam. Hi, Kristen.
Hey,
Hey, Miguel.
I'm here.
how you doing?
And Gio. The whole gang's here. How are you all doing? What do you think of Otto? What you just saw it.
Very excited. It was nice to see him there on the login screen this morning.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
excited to see him too.
I was gonna say I
Absolutely.
was already asking him questions and was able to pull up some donor profiles and stuff, so it was really exciting.
Amazing. Well, we're going to get to demo. We're going to get to show the full capabilities of Otto in just a few minutes. But you all have been using DonorDoc for some time now and staying focused on what matters most. And so we really wanted to highlight it. You know, Pam as a solo fundraising team, and then Miguel, Gio, and Kristen as kind of a larger team, really using DonorDoc to its full potential. So let's start with this. Pam, what led you to DonorDoc in the first place?
Sure. So when I first came on as a development director here, I inherited a system, and it wasn't great and it wasn't very user friendly, but I used it because that's what we had paid for and that's what we had. And then DonorDoc had, when they were first starting out, they had this dashboard for Giving Hearts Day that we got to play with. And I said, that's super great. And then they turned it into DonorDoc. And I said, let's merge all of our stuff over there, which was a risk because I had to then ask a board to like switch from something we'd already paid for into a new system. But I'm super thankful and it has really helped move the needle for us.
That's wonderful here. And we're so grateful that you were able to take that risk, stand up to the board, who most of us have to get approvals on for certain things, and say, no, this matters and we want to move forward. Miguel, what drove you all to DonorDoc? What were you excited about, and what drove you to adopt our platform?
You know, to be honest with you, I wasn't really pleased in the beginning with our development team wanting to go with DonorDoc because I didn't think you guys were ready to help us operate as a sales team with making hundreds of calls a day, sending all these emails to new donors that never heard of us, and you guys completely have just shocked me with how well you listen. And we now we have over 70 business partners and 80 church partners, and it is mainly thanks to you guys just constantly just uh, getting better at just what our needs are as a team. So just streamlining um, everything. You guys just help everything be easy and not lose and continue to make donors happy. Donors want to be kept up with, not just when they give, but throughout the year. And DonorDoc really makes that easy all around. And just yeah, thank you for listening and adjusting to our needs and helping us be successful.
Well, Miguel, I am so thankful we've changed your heart. And what I do love, and it like warms me so much, is that you use this word listen. And I think it's just something our team takes so seriously, and really what drove me to DonorDoc. You know, I started working with DonorDoc about a year ago and just recently came on full time. And I think it was that deep commitment to listening to the customer that's helped us really shape DonorDoc, but honestly, this evolution into Otto, and will continue to shape us. Listening is not an arrival. Listening is a practice, and we want to be committed to that every single day. So,
thank you,
Gio and Kristen. I know you kind of are on the front lines of some of the work that Miguel said, really digging into DonorDoc every single day. So, Kristen, I'll let you share first. Then, Gio, I'd love to hear from you. Is how has DonorDoc really changed your day to day, or kind of like, how do you use DonorDoc every single day, Kristen?
Yeah, I think one of the things, I mean, I love the tasks, being able to put up tasks and schedule out your contact, how you want to contact with someone ahead of time. That way you're just not missing people. And one of the things that I love is just the nudges that it'll give you too, because sometimes there's human error, or I've had times where maybe you just forgot to put a task in for yourself for that person. So it's like, you know, that if you miss something, I feel like DonorDoc's kind of there, like, no, hey, remember this, like, don't forget them. So that to me is very helpful, because there's always going to be human error, and it's like you have this backup. And now it's exciting with Otto to see how that can help even more, of just not letting donors be forgotten and making sure we're thanking them, but also following up with potential new donors. And so that's been very helpful.
Absolutely. It is helpful, right? Like we all forget things sometimes, and it's helpful to have that kind of intelligent guide or that assistant that's always been built in, but now it's coming to life with Otto to just remind you like, hey, here's what you should focus on today. I know that mattered to me a lot when I was leading fundraising, is that like, it's hard to know, like there's so many things you should do or could do, but like, what is the most important? And glad that has been a part of your day-to-day, Kristen. Gio, what about you? I know you're a power user as well. So how has DonorDoc really changed your day-to-day?
Yeah, I mean, DonorDoc is really the base of what I use in terms of productivity. I usually have multiple tabs open on different screens. And I really like working off of reports, just because of some practices that I have. So I'll run a report daily. And the bulk actions feature is really helpful, because then I could just focus on making the call and focus on connecting with the people that I'm reaching out to, whether it's one of our church partners, a business prospect that might be interested in learning more about us. It just helps me to focus on connecting with people rather than what should I do today? Who should I reach out to? You know, it gives me a lot of structure, which suits my personality well, because I'm not naturally a very organized person. But having a system that's primed to help me organize has been truly a blessing.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes we need that structure. And I think that's one thing DonorDoc does, is it really lays that foundation to build structure within your organizations, like you, whether you like it or not. It's super helpful to be able to have. Pam, I know, you're a smaller fundraising team. You're focused on, you have to make sure you're productive every single day. So how has DonorDoc really changed your day to day? And is there a moment when you were like, oh, this is exactly what I needed?
I think when the action board came about was huge for me. I think
And for
it's
the
funny
Pam,
that
sorry to interrupt. Do you know, like, what is the for people that don't know what it is? How would you describe the action board?
the action board is kind of like an automated to-do list, like that I didn't have to come up with, which is great. Um, and it just is pulling from my data that I, and your data is only as good as what you put in the system, correct? But and it just keeps track of the touch points that I've had with donors and the touch points that need to happen with donors. And so some days you come in and you're just overwhelmed. You're like, I have so much I need to do. And sometimes I just say, let's just start with the action board. And I just turn on my computer and go there. And I'm like, oh, look, I need to call Susie. And that is a great start. Like, it kind of takes some of the guesswork and some of the overwhelm out of things. So I really like the nudges and the action board just to keep track of all of those things for me.
Yeah. And it's wonderful just to know that you can always default back to that
Yeah.
and do that. I think what I loved, so I've worked in nonprofits for a long time now, over almost, I guess, 15 plus years. And the thing that I love is when you log into DonorDoc, you see the action board. I don't think there's another system that you log into that's a CRM or a database that you log into and you don't land on the dashboard.
Right.
Which is like, okay, what does this mean to me? And I think what we love about it is like, no, like when you log in, you really should be like, here's what I'm going to do, not what here's been done, or, what I might need to do or what I need to interpret. And the action board is really designed. So I love hearing that that's kind of how you use it every day, Pam.
Yeah.
Miguel, you obviously are leading the Loving team. And so I'm curious how you view DonorDoc and how has it given you as the lead more confidence that your team is focused on what matters most?
Well, something that I really celebrated was the ask board, operating as a sales team and having a system and calling businesses I've never heard of us and booking tours with them, and then from the tour finding out if they're going to give or not, and then having to close with them. It was very important that we have an option like the ask board where we know this individual said they're going to give, and we can kind of just estimate that it looks like maybe they can give 5,000, and just wait for their response on what they're going to give. But that really helps us operate as a better sales team as a nonprofit. And we love to look at that ask board and see how many people we have potential to close with that we've been reaching out to. So that's huge. And the reporting, the board wants constant reports. So you guys continue to improve on them, and they continue to get easier to access. And that's very helpful to us to not have to deal with Excel spreadsheets or all the other stuff. Just be able to look into DonorDoc.
Yeah, absolutely. And the ask board is such a unique feature too. Like a lot of times organizations are used to like building like gift pipelines or like building out in spreadsheets. Like I know that's what I did for my development team. I had this spreadsheet that they had to update, and then we like weighted different things. And the fact that really, I want to say but like Matt and Andrew and the team listened and said, how do we make this easier with the ask board to complement the action board has just been so neat. And again, it's about getting what matters most done. And that's what those boards help you do. There's an interesting question in the chat, and I just want to call it out. So Lisa is a great organization that's a smaller organization, so under $300,000. And she mentions the cost of DonorDoc. Obviously, every technology, every partner you bring on is going to cost money. And so the questions always becomes is it worth it? And how do you justify the costs? And so, Pam, I know you're kind of a small fundraising team. So I'm curious how you've thought about this. You had to present to the board and say, we should go with this. And every year now, we should continue to go with this. Right. So how do you think about justifying the cost of DonorDoc and the investment you're making in your team and your productivity?
It's cheaper than having another employee. And I feel like DonorDoc kind of does act like my personal admin, which is nice. And we would have to pay no matter what we have, so there is no, other than maybe an Excel spreadsheet, but that would be really unwieldy. There's no free CRM out there that will do what we need it to do. So even what we already had paid for, we would have to pay thousands of dollars every few years to update, which I didn't like it in the first place. So I just couldn't justify paying to upgrade it. So
yeah. And I think it's tough, right? Like everyone's on a tight budget, and we try to be as budget conscious as possible because we know it's a burden, and we really want to enable all nonprofits with the tools they need to be more productive. But what I love that you just shared, and then Gio and Miguel or Kristen, I want your all's take on this, is that you use the word assistant. And again, that's so different than what most CRMs or databases are, which is like an archive. And so it's like, hey, I got to document stuff over here so someone in the future might know about it, which is great and important. But it really wasn't helping me as much on a day-to-day basis. Focus on what matters most, follow up with donors, as Kristen mentioned, that you might have forgotten about, or hey, I forgot to do the follow-up task. It nudges you, or give you that confidence every single day to just log in and know DonorDoc is suggesting what to do next. And so I think that's what's so interesting is we really try to be more of an assistant and a productivity tool more than just a place to store your data. That doesn't really generate value. And so love hearing, Pam, your experience from there. But Gio, Kristen, what do you all think about this? How would you kind of guide Lisa here as she's trying to justify it?
One of the things I feel like we would miss out on a lot would be we would probably miss out on a lot of new partners or a lot of new donors if we didn't have DonorDoc. So like when I think about, like Pam was saying, like anything's going to cost. So unless you wanted to do Excel, which sounds like torture, and like you would definitely start missing lots of things there. Then for me, at least, because of how we operate, like Miguel mentioned, we kind of operate like a sales team. So a lot of what we do is we'll put in a lot of businesses or individuals that aren't partners with us yet or don't know about us, and we reach out to them and we try to let them know, hey, this is what we're doing. Do you want to get involved? So without DonorDoc and without being able to track that and to track your follow-up and to mark like, hey, this person seemed really interested, let's follow up with them, or those kind of little things that would be really hard to keep track of without something like this. I feel like the amount, like we're able to do so much more. Like Miguel mentioned that we have over 70 business partners now. And so we're able to do so much more because of what DonorDoc lets us do. Um, and so for me, I feel like it's definitely worth it just because of how it allows us to reach more, but also track that and then follow up and making sure that we are also maintaining communications with current donors, because you don't want them to feel unheard or like you're missing them, or not sharing news with them or updates of what is happening. And so I feel like that's one of the biggest things.
And
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
if I can jump in, I mean for Lisa, I think that we all understand her being all nonprofits, that any cost is it can be just difficult as you're growing. But I believe the DonorDoc for us at Love Inc. of Mid Delmarva, we have grown from 150K budget to close to $1 million, and I think we wouldn't have taken a chance with DonorDoc, and be patient even with DonorDoc, because you guys have improved a lot in the 2 years we've been with you tremendously. It's paid off. It's paid off tremendous. So you have to invest, and you guys have, the investment has paid off tremendously. So I know that maybe 4,500 can seem like a lot, but that can be it can be a lot more you raise with DonorDoc than $4,500 there.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And congratulations to you and the team. Like, that's incredible. Like, that doesn't just happen because of DonorDoc. We always talk here, like, DonorDoc is an exponent on the human, and you all are doing the work, and we're just coming alongside you to make that happen. So congrats. That's incredible.
Yeah, I wanted to add a little bit more because DonorDoc, I see it as, I resonate a lot with what Pam was saying, and you hit the nail on the head, Noah, because as Love Inc., we provide a service to businesses and churches by providing, a support system and by holding people accountable. But Love Inc. is more than just what we provide to people. It's the team that's coming alongside the church or the business. And I feel the same exact way about DonorDoc. I feel like the platform is the service you provide to us, but the team that we get with DonorDoc, I honestly is probably just as valuable, if not more valuable than the platform, because you do have an excellent platform, but you also have the right team in the right places. So it's been great just getting to know Bridget and Matt and Andrew and just all the different teammates and the roles that you have. And I think you have the right people in the right place. So I just huge privilege to be part of that.
And Gio can ask a lot of questions. So you guys are very patient and listen very well because you never tell Gio not to ask questions. So
Well,
great
that's
patience.
to go off of that though, Miguel. I feel like that's one of the things, like just the customer service that DonorDoc provides. Like the speed at which you all get back to us anytime I reach out to customer, like to support or anything, is very impressive. And it's so helpful for me too, because I'm like, when I have something on my mind, I'm like, I just want to get this done right away so I can like check that box and get it out of the way. And support helps that. So if there's something that I need to figure out or I have a question about, to be able to hear back so quickly it makes my work a whole lot easier, because then that's not in the back of my mind. I know it's getting solved very quickly.
Also, I think that it's important to note that DonorDoc combines a couple different things so that I'm not paying for other services other places. I was able to get our emails out of MailChimp or Constant Contact and into DonorDoc. So that's huge. I'm able to text within DonorDoc. The things I'm able to do within DonorDoc and not have to outsource all these different places makes things hugely convenient, time and money saving.
Yeah.
Which time is something you don't get back, right? I
No.
mean, if you could save time and you have a good team and you have a great platform, I mean,
I know.
all of
So
that compounds really.
Yeah, and I think that's one thing that we've tried to do well here is we want to be a platform where you can use it all as an all-in-one. But some of our customers actually use it as a complement to their other systems. So maybe they do have another fundraising platform or an events platform, but we want to be able to serve both use cases. And so whether you're sitting here and thinking about, hey, we have fundraising over here and we have email over here and we have CRM over here, we really want to bring all that together because that's going to help enable the productivity side. Like the action board doesn't work if you have a disparate system over here and a disparate system over here. It works well because the data is in one place. Pam, you said this too. Like we want to keep the data in the right place so that we can action against that. That's even more important as we move to this world where, we introduce Otto, because all of that data you're putting in, again, it's not an archive anymore. It's actually an assistant. So all the unstructured notes and meeting notes and all of these different things can now become a complement to how you actually proactively engage, because you have this intelligent guide, Otto, being able to summarize all that and bring it back together so that when you're talking to that donor or board member, you have everything you need to be successful. We have some exciting things coming up down the road. We are just getting started with Otto and the ability to, again, help small fundraising teams focus on what matters most. And you all are a part of that, and you have helped contribute so much. I know Matt and Andrew would say the same thing. We're so grateful for each of you. While I have you, I do want to ask one more thing. That's very funny. It's not Carolyn, but Carolyn does sometimes does over the top and helps support Matt. So that's a great comment there. But while I have you,
That's funny. That is funny.
While I have you, though, again, we have exciting things here today. You all are a part of that. But what's something that you're excited about, in the next 12 months that you and your nonprofit are focused on, that DonorDoc is going to help you do better? Pam?
Well, our big event every year is the Turkey Trot. We have this great big 5K in town on Thanksgiving morning, and I'm working on making sure people know that it is our event and that it benefits us. I think it's easy to just say we're running a race and it's Thanksgiving Day, and I think DonorDoc is going to help us with that messaging and getting all of those people connected to our cause.
Absolutely. Gio?
I think getting journeys dialed in really well, because we have, individuals, churches, and businesses who give. So having tailored journeys for each of those, or we just launched our merch store. So people who buy, so having tailored journeys that will help convert to recurring giving, I think that's something I'm really excited about.
Absolutely. Kristen?
Yeah, I'm just excited to get into Otto and just see how that can help us even more with what we're doing, and make our lives even easier. I've been really excited ever since you all started with automations, using that and being able to like what Gio said, and now there's journeys and being able to, because we've already started getting into the process of kind of having those specific journeys for different things, and then now it'll just be cool to see how Otto can help expand that.
Absolutely. Miguel.
Kristen automizes everything. It's unbelievable. I'm like, Kristen, what do you do? I'm just kidding.
Shh,
I'd be
Otto's
reached
doing
out
all the
to.
work, Miguel. Let Otto do all the work.
Yeah. Otto's my new best friend now.
um, I, so again, a board member and my wife, who's the associate director of the organization, convinced me to let go of Classy. I've been using Classy since I was in the Salvation Army. As you guys are aware, Classy is an online event platform. Um, and we're letting go of it. We're not renewing in July, and we're using DonorDoc and we're shifting all our online donors to DonorDoc. So I'm looking forward to just seeing DonorDoc get to the level of Classy when it comes to an online platform. I mean, I don't think you guys are that far off, but that's going to be super awesome to see that and have my board member and my wife prove me wrong, and very shortly.
Well, we've already convinced a heart change once, Miguel. So we'll
Yes.
continue to do that by listening and again, working with our partners and working with our team and you all to be able to shape how we continue to build. Because again, at the end of the day, as Matt and Andrew shared, our focus is that small fundraising teams, whether it's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or a solo fundraising team, benefit from focusing on what matters most. And a big priority for us is we want someone to go to bed every day and know that what they got done today actually mattered. And that might mean feeding more children or advancing policy or driving change in the community. Whatever it is, we want them to know that what they did and got done mattered. So Gio, Miguel, Kristen, Pam, thank you all so much. Thank you for being partners of ours. Thank you for being customers. And thank you for giving up your time to be with us today on this monumental launch event.
Gio,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
So now that we've heard from our customers, we want to take things one step further and really show you what Otto looks like inside of our platform, especially with Otto now alongside you. And so I'd like to invite Matt back to the stage and introduce you all to Bridget, who leads customer success here at DonorDoc. Hey, Matt. Hey, Bridget.
Hey, Noah.
Hello.
Thanks again for that panel. Was awesome. It was so great to hear from customers and to hear their experiences. And, we just feel, as I said earlier, we're just so humbled to get to work with organizations like those every day. So thank you for doing that.
Absolutely. And it's incredible. Like I have goosebumps talking to it. And again, it's like, this is the work. It's actually like working alongside people, coming together, amplified by technology, by automations, by AI, by all of these tools. But it all starts with the human. And hearing Pam, Gio, Miguel, and Kristen kind of share their heart for their work and how DonorDoc's helping to exponentially grow that is truly incredible. And so now I know together we're going to be walking through a few workflows, like donor follow-up, staying on top of your to-dos, a lot of the things Gio, Kristen, and Pam talked about, and how Otto is now going to help you stay focused on what matters most and keep you organized and moving in the right direction. So Matt, Bridget, I'll let you take it away from here, and I'll be back at the end for Q&A. So if you have questions, feel free to drop those in the chat, and we'll definitely be diving into those at the end of the demo.
Sounds good. Bridget,
Perfect.
excited to see this. Let's go.
Yeah, I got a little emotional over the panel and all the comments, so I have to get myself together here to be able to present this. And I wanted to present it in a way that's a day in the life of, and actually all the things that our customers just said on the panel are the things I wanted to show you. So I love that is ringing true for our customers. So excited to be here with you today. So for our example nonprofit of Dream Kids, we are on our action board because, as we said, I do love starting on the action board as well, because you come in and you have these nudges, and a change that you'll see with Otto is he's Otto's now a part of the action board. And so looking at the nudges, these are our smart nudges that are coming in and helping us to take care of things that we need to do. And, you know, here Amanda Nelson gave a gift that was unusually large. We call that a spike up gift. And so we can choose to take action on this, but one really cool piece of this now with Otto is I can actually ask Otto to help me personalize this outreach that I'm going to do with Amanda. So when I ask Otto, Otto starts thinking, and he's going to pop up some suggestions with encouragement to reach out to Amanda with a personalized email, knowing that Amanda prefers email, and acknowledging her recent generous gift, which was a spike up gift. And she gives to our camp scholarship. So that's a great thing to, you know, also personalize in my outreach with Amanda.
So this is really interesting. So this is obviously coming from, you know, data we know or that Otto knows about Amanda, and then providing more of a versus a generic like, hey, you might want to try this because it might work. This is much more like insights around Amanda's actual, you know, record that we have. That's really cool.
And I think it's neat because Otto's not just looking at the gift record, which is obviously really important, but Otto's also looking at notes and activities and email bodies and taking that information and generating this. I could definitely go into Amanda's record and I could search for all of that information, but Otto's helping me do that in a faster and more complete way right here on the action board.
So like Gio and like they were talking about in the panel, like time is something you can't buy more of. If you had to go in and before you reached out to Amanda, you had to go find all this information, like what should I say or what should I talk about? You know, one thing that really comes to mind for me, and Noah touched on this too, is the idea of, you know, how important all of this unstructured data becomes in today's world where we can use it and like harness it, you know, and so maybe to explain like unstructured versus structured data. When we talk about that, and we may talk about it more, the idea of like structured data is like things that have actual data points that are specific. So a first name, a last name, you know, something where this is a spot where you put this piece of data. Whereas unstructured data is more like there's no real specific place for it. It's just information we have. So like you said, email bodies or notes or summaries of meetings, those types of things. We can now use all of that data and it becomes like this treasure trove of information about the relationship. So instead of, as Noah mentioned, like it being something I'm putting in there just to put it in there or to just archive it, we get real value out of it. And that's like super exciting and cool. And it just another reason to like make sure that you're keeping that data, you know, in there because it's going to provide tangible value. It's really neat.
Yeah. And, you know, the thing that I love about the action board is you can easily still take that personal choice. So Otto's recommending an email, but you also have other activities and actions that you can take with these nudges. So you're still taking that personal touch. So there's one-to-many opportunities and there's one-to-one, and Otto's helping surface those and give you actions and steps that you might want to take as well.
Awesome. So with the Ask Otto piece then, like, you know, let's say you had notes in that record that said Amanda doesn't like to be on the phone. She doesn't like phone calls. You know, that's where Otto's going to be able to say, hey, she doesn't like phone calls. Let's suggest a different thing to do that might resonate more with Amanda. So again, not it's taking that and it's like an exponent on the human relationship piece by helping you continue to build that human relationship, which we think is like the most important thing, right? When we talk about like getting the most important things done every day, like building that human relationship is like top of that list for us. And so this just helps you make sure that you're doing the things that will help build that relationship. And it's exciting.
It is exciting. And you can take care of some of the actions right from the action board. Some of them you may need to do later, like a task or a phone call. But if you want to send an email, you can very simply send an email out, and it can be, you know, a personalized one, or you can send a template, whatever you want to do. So it's really helpful that way as well. So I love that.
What's cool, that email becomes unstructured data that's now there for building on for the next time when you're
Yeah.
you know, engaging with that particular
Yeah.
donor.
And it's all about deepening that connection and that relationship and making sure that you're keeping that forefront. And DonorDoc's just here to help you.
Awesome.
And now Otto's just an extra part of that, because I know we all love the action board. I always say to our customers, I need it for my daily life. So if you and Andrew want to get on top of that, something that we could use the action board in our daily life, I would love that too, not just for our nonprofit customers. You can also see on the action board that the reason these nudges are coming in are different. So, you know, Amanda had a spike up gift. She increased her last gift size to us. And Hamel here has given us a major gift. So that's another nudge to reach out, but it's for a different reason. So the action board can surface those.
So what are the different things that the action board will kind of nudge you on, you know, kind of built into the system?
And what's really cool about it is each user that's logged into DonorDoc can actually customize the nudges that are being sent to them. Because what I want to see might be different to be nudged on than what you want to see in our daily activities. So using the gear icon and the customize button here, you can see Otto's popping up in our profile settings here, where I can toggle on and off the automated nudges that Otto's going to put to us. So daily 5 is actually an activity-based one. So if somebody hasn't been interacted with in some way, shape, or form in over 30 days, it gets put into a pool of people, and Otto's going to pick 5 of those and bring them up to your action board. I love starting out the day with the daily 5. I think the daily 5 is just
really,
a great way to start.
Neat way to kind of consistently engage with donors with something that probably feels overwhelming at times, but being able to kind of do that in more of a systematic way, I think is really
And I always say it doesn't add 5 new ones if you didn't get them done, so you're not going to come to the end of the week with 25 of them. It's just 5 total. Sure. So that's always helpful as well. And then you have things like gift related nudges. So a donor's first gift, very important. We actually think the second gift is a really important thing. It wasn't just a one-off gift from an event or a Facebook post. They're coming back because they care about your organization, so Otto can help you with that. A major gift nudge, as we saw with Hamel, and of course that spike up gift. And what's nice about the major gift and spike up gift is that can be different for each organization, and you get to set that in your organization settings. So that's personalized for your org. And then of course, you know, stage changes with your contacts. Somebody's becoming lapsed. We can actually let you know about that before it happens. And then also if a lapsed donor donates, you connect with them, they become reactivated, we call that, to donor stage. The system can alert you to those changes. And then just really great kind of personal ones like birthday, you know, nudges, first gift anniversary. I like to call it a gift-iversary. You can reach out. Donorversary, right? Like exactly. It. And then pledge reminders. So if you have those promised gifts, Otto can remind you that that pledge hasn't been received yet with a reminder as well too.
Awesome. So lots of different things that.
Yes, and for each user. So that's what I think is really great because depending on your role, you're able to, you know, enable those here.
Yeah,
so.
Great.
All right. So let's go back to the action board because you'll also see we've talked about the nudges and moving those into your actions or your active to-dos. So these are things that I have scheduled to do. Now you can see that some of them have come from, with the purple, with Otto, from that spike up gift. I need to make a call to Brenda. I decided that yesterday. I was going to call her today. Had a little more time on my plate today to give her a call. But you can also see that I have created my own action as well too. So just like we were saying in the panel, you can add your own activities as well as the system nudging you. And I actually have a meeting with Francine Ainsby today, and we're going to have a coffee meeting. And I think something really cool is I could go into Francine's record right here. I can get some information and I can view her contact record. But now with Otto enabled, I can actually go into Otto chat and I can have Otto maybe help me look at a few things with Francine's record here. So Otto, I can ask Otto to
over there maybe.
Yeah, let me see. I already have a prompt here ready to go, so I'm gonna just quick copy this. Good thing I have my technical support.
It's the controller.
There we go. We got it. I need Carolyn. Carolyn, are you on the chat? No.
So this is actually going out and like finding information about this.
Yeah, and it's going to help me find some information about Francine, or help me prepare for my meeting.
Yeah, cool. So this is actually using AI on the back end. Is that correct?
Yes, so it's going to look at those records and give me some really helpful information that I can use, that I can take into my meeting with Francine,
Gotcha.
and can kind of use some of that relevant information as well.
Gotcha. You care if I
Yeah,
give
go
it
ahead.
a try here? I'm gonna just tell it a little bit more. Please find Francine. I can't type here. Ainsby in our CRM. Let's see what it finds here for us. So what's really neat with this, again, it goes back to like, we're not trying to, so it can pull information, recent notes, that's really, so like you're getting ready for this coffee meeting, right? So now instead of like you having to go in there, like you said, and try and like find all this information, these kinds of summaries and things, like it's going to help you. So let's see here. Francine loves Sandy's Donuts.
Who
Maybe you
doesn't?
want to take
Yeah.
Sandy's Donuts to coffee. 3 grown children, 8 grandchildren. So things that you can talk about. You know, she enjoys volunteering for day camps. Here's an interesting one. She insists on paying for coffee during visits. So
Well,
you
great
can kind
news.
of go to the coffee meeting being prepared. But the idea is not that the ask or the auto chat isn't really here to like replace the user interface of DonorDoc, but what it can do is it can pull together information for you and get it to you in a way that's a little easier to like find and digest. And I think that's really cool. It also, again, has a link right to her record here if we wanted to go and look at that. And there's other things that it can do. You know, the auto chat can kind of create notes. It can do other things like that for you if you tell it what you want it to do. It is limited. I think it's important to say, like, it is limited. It can't do, we don't want to give it access to doing everything. And we may expand the scope of what it can do over time, but just the ability for it to, and it's trained as a fundraising expert. That's the other thing. It's trained on all of DonorDoc's training information. It's trained on fundraising best practices. So if you think about, like, if I'm using ChatGPT, right? Which is great.
Yeah.
Like ChatGPT is a really cool tool. But it's not necessarily trained on like those fundraising best practices. It doesn't know information about your data. So being able to start leveraging Otto inside DonorDoc, again, when Pam talked about being able to like offload needing other tools, this could be something that if you're using ChatGPT, maybe you replace that with this, because there's value here in having the training and all of those things. So really neat. Obviously, I think you're ready now for your coffee meeting with
I'm ready to
Francine.
go
You've
have
got a lot of
coffee with
information to take to that meeting. So that's really, really neat.
It is very helpful information, and just the time. I think that's my biggest one too, as we talk about, is the time that it saves from scrolling through, which you can. It's awesome to have all those notes and add those notes, but now we can just get it really quickly right here.
Yep. Well, and then again, narrative around that. If we wanted that, like, tell us a summary of the relationship. You know, it can in a narrative format. You know, those types of things. In fact, that's something we have coming soon with Otto that we didn't get for the launch today, but it'll be coming soon. Is like donor summaries. So like going to a donor's page and being able to have like a narrative of what that relationship looks like based on all of the information that we have today. And sometimes digesting information that way is just a lot easier than like reading through a bunch of notes or activities. You know, like, let's let Otto do that hard work for us. And we just are going to get the benefit of that, which I think is really cool. So
yeah, and I think ultimately it just deepens the human relationship. So I'm still having coffee with Francine, but I'm allowing my CRM and Otto within that to help me prepare for that.
Exactly.
And personalize that so we can deepen that relationship.
Yeah, for sure. I love that.
I love it too. So helpful to have Otto there. You know, another thing that we do in a lot of our days, probably, we have these networking events, or we're meeting people and we're trying to connect with people. And that's really helpful as well too in the CRM. So in my day of the life of, I was at a networking event last night, say, and I met somebody and they said, you know what, I've heard of your organization. I've come to one of your events. And so I'm going to look here for Teddy Rose in my contacts. I'm going to use the search bar and just see if Teddy's already in the database, and Teddy is in there. So I'm going to go ahead and open up Teddy's record. And you
saw
can
Johnny Rose in
Johnny
there too,
Rose,
so,
I mean, yeah, must be related.
from the TV show, maybe.
I mean, we have a little bit of fun in our CRM too, right? So it's fun here to see that Teddy is in our database, individual record, and then that prospect stage. So doesn't have a donation tied to their record yet, so they're at the prospect stage. And I can see in the activities and gifts timeline that they did attend our event this year. So that's probably where they heard about us. And I was able to connect with them yesterday. So, you know, we're talking about adding unstructured data. That was a new word for me. You know, I like that, talking about data now, but like a note. So I can just leave a note and say, Bridget met Teddy at a networking event. Okay. And then I can add that note, or you could say maybe they're interested in volunteering or learning more about us. So any kind of notes you want to put in, you could track it as an activity. You have lots of options here to really have these touch points and the notes, because now we know that we can use those.
Well, I was just going to say, I've been in the CRM space for over 20 years now. And like, I always just felt like, I'd be honest, I always felt like notes were kind of like not that valuable, right? Like I would always tell people, oh, you know, activities, like track your activities as activities. And if notes just never felt super valuable to me, if I'm just being completely honest. And I've completely changed my thinking around that now. Like they can provide so much value. So one of the things that we're figuring out is how can we make that easier to get notes in there? We've got some neat ideas around that hopefully will be coming out here pretty soon. But yeah, this is cool. So
we can add that
in. Our notes in.
And then, you know, one thing, so Teddy's telling me that he's interested in our organization. He wants to find out more. Volunteering might be something that he wants to do. This is a great opportunity. So we've been talking about automations and journeys and all of these different things. So this is a great opportunity. I'm going to use our badging system. So if you're not familiar with badges, they're a great segmentation that you can use at your contacts. But I'm actually going to enroll, using my badge here, I'm going to enroll Teddy in our prospect journey, so that I know that Teddy is going to be engaged with in a nice cadence of communication, you know, using some automated emails and touch points and personal connections. I'm going to enroll him in this prospect journey.
Okay, so Gio talked about prospect or about journeys. I think Kristen talked about journeys. We mentioned it earlier. You got to show me what journeys are.
Exactly.
I'm really interested here.
Journeys are great. So going to the automations part of our menu here, you'll see automations and journeys. I'm going to come back. I'm going to answer the question that I get quite a bit in training is, what is the difference between journeys and automation? So I'm going to come back to that because I think it's an important question to answer and one that I get in real life. So let's go ahead though and look at our journeys. So you'll see that we have 6 journeys here in DonorDoc that are already created for you. And really this is the heart of deepening that engagement. So it's a part of our smart steward method. And that's why it's built right in here for you with our journeys. And they are for every kind of stage that your contact would be in with your organization, from the prospect stage to their first gift. Maybe they make that recurring gift that Gio was talking about. You know, maybe they've upped their gift and they're that mid-level donor. In fact, we say give it a name. There isn't a name we could give it, you know, here, but that mid-level donor, maybe they're your sustainers. And then you have your major gifts. So if a donor gives a major gift, they're on a journey. It's almost like they're going on this road trip with your organization. And then if that person does become lapsed, even after the nudges from Otto to reach out, how are we going to re-engage that contact into this lapsed donor journey as well too?
So really covering kind of that whole life cycle that a donor might go through. Can we click in and give an example of like what one of these looks like? Or
of course,
how these work?
Let's look at the journey that Teddy's going to be on here with our prospect journey. So again, Otto's popping up. Otto is helping us with these steps. And so you'll see here that the journey badge is added. So I did that. So, you know, not everybody in your database that is labeled as a prospect stage should necessarily be in a journey. We kind of see that someone signaled that they're interested in your organization, like that networking meeting, maybe even attending that event is enough to enroll them in this journey. So we're actually enrolling the person in there and adding that badge. And then I have a task to go in and see what kind of information I have about Teddy in my CRM. Now, I already did that step, so that's great, but we're going to remind you to do that step.
So that would show up like on your action
Yeah,
board.
exactly. So it's a task that's going to get put onto my action board, and I can, just say complete because I already did that, with when I was checking on it before. And then you'll see in other steps, like step 3, there's an email going out. So introductory outreach, you're sharing your brand, your mission, awareness, and letting Teddy know about your org. And then that's 45 days later. So that was a week after. But 45 days later, we're going to pop back into Teddy's inbox. But now we're going to do it with a story about our mission and our focus. So that mission moment we want to share as well, too. So we're making that very personal. And then step 5, 60 days after the trigger has started. So we have a nice cadence here of communication, which is always important. We're going to do a task. So I'm going to get a nudge to do that first ask, for maybe that soft ask for a first gift, or maybe it is that to donate the time to volunteer, because we know that that's a great opportunity as well. And then 120 days later, so we're not inundating them with too much information, but we know that they're being engaged with for 120 days. We're going to get that final follow-up or alternate engagement offer, depending on what how the relationship has transpired. And then we're going to remove that badge. So it's keeping our database up to date. So it's taking him out of the journey. And Teddy might give that first gift and get put into another journey. So that's what's really cool about this too, is that there are filters in place and things that are for each kind of trip that you're on, or the journey you're on, if you would.
So thinking about this, so we got 6 journeys, combination of automated communications along with these nudges when the personal piece. So some of these run a full year,
right?
Again, unless they were to get short circuited by something else starting and turning that one off. But I think what's the power of this is, like, think about how if you weren't doing it this way, how would you keep track of all this, of like who needed to be talked
on your
to?
spreadsheet, right? That's hard.
Yeah, it is. And it's really impossible, I think, to do it effectively. So this kind of takes that work and says, we're going to handle communication when we can. We're going to nudge you when you need to take action. And so sitting down at the action board every morning, I'll know that if I've got 3 or 4 nudges from different journeys at various points in the journey, just by doing those things, I am moving the needle in terms of that relationship. So one of my immediate thoughts on this, you got 6 journeys, let's say 3 to 5 automated emails per journey. That is a lot of email content to have to go write to get these things turned on.
Yeah, it can be a lot. So there's a couple things we like to say. You're 90% of the way there, just with them right here in the journey section. But we're going to get you like another 5%, or maybe it might even be more than that. But we have developed the Journey Wizard, and this is really time saving. In fact, this is not just me saying this, but we've heard this from our customers who have used this Journey Wizard, that it is easy to navigate. And you're going to put in information. We keep talking about the importance of data, and it really is. Pam said, it's only as good as the data you put in. So we're going to allow you to put in some really great data here, like your name, your website, and then your organization mission statement, which is always important, to have in there. But now we're also going to ask you for some impact stories, those mission moments that can be used in that kind of mission forward email, and Otto can help create that. So put in some impact stories that you want, and then we're coming back to unstructured data. I love that word. We're gonna put in some other information. What else is important? Do you have social media handles that you want to be putting in here? Dependence on volunteers, some of your values, the people you help, or those different things. So just anything else you think is important. Yeah, exactly. Otto. And it might be different for each organization.
Of course.
So, you're going to help Otto here. And then Otto's going to help you as you generate these journey emails. Now, we always let you know Otto's going to ask for permission about this stuff. So anytime Otto's going to create something or write something, we're going to ask for permission. And yes, go ahead. I want Otto to write these emails out for me. So the journey emails are being created here, and now they're ready to go. So I can actually view the templates, which is great. So
we would recommend.
Yeah. So
view the templates.
I wanted to say Otto gets you 95% of the way there. We did 90%. Otto's going to get you that 5%. And now you can go in, tweak your templates. It's so much easier to edit than it is to create.
Well,
I know that.
I think honestly what we've seen is that the emails
Yeah.
that Otto writes are really good. And what's cool about this, what I just love about this, is that rather than us having, here's just a generic template that you have to go update 25 emails yourself, these are like bespoke emails to every organization and their mission and their impact stories and all of those things. And they're there. Like you don't have to, we're not having to go write these. Like it's crazy. So let's go ahead and look at like one of these just as an example.
Like let's just look at our lapsed donor. And that's what's really cool too, is that the journey that they're on, it's referencing. So you're going to talk to your lapsed donor differently than you're going to talk to your major donor. So, we're referencing our impact that we have and the difference they've made because they have donated to our organization in the past. It's been a while. We understand that, right? Having empathy for our donors. And then, if you're inspired to reconnect, we're giving some options for that. And of course, connecting it with the Dream Kids team.
But they can change these.
Oh, of course,
you can edit these right here, make adjustments if the voice
Yeah.
isn't exactly like you want. In fact, we have AI tools built right into here too, that if you were to click into this one and do the smart text, you could say like change the voice,
make it formal,
make it
friendly.
right. So you can like refine it with Otto through this as well. And then one other thing that just jumps out to me is these don't look like they don't look like big marketing emails, and that's intentional, right? We want these to come and look like they are, somebody sat down and typed this email out to that user.
That conversational.
So, right, conversational versus like a marketing email, because donors see the difference. They know the difference, right? And so,
and there may be a time you want to put in a hyperlink to something if they want to donate again, or a button. You can do that.
Share on social. Or,
share it. Give that actionable steps. I think that's great, and you can do that. But we want to start out with that really conversational, personal, touch to it as well too.
That's
so,
awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Wow, that really is a big time saver there.
It,
so.
It really.
I see that we didn't share. I don't think we shared that tab.
Oh,
we're gonna.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
So we'll just share that tab here so you can see what we've just been talking about for the last 3 to 5 minutes. So here is that email that it created, and so. Again, very conversational, very like a personal email, not a marketing email. If you click in here and do smart text, you can use Otto to kind of refine it even more, or you can simply, change it, make changes that you want and save it.
You have the whole template editor
and then that will be used for the journeys going forward. So really cool, big time saver, and something that we're excited about. Going back now. Here we'll share this tab again, and you can kind of show us the rest of the steps of the journeys there. Yep. So, I think right there.
Perfect.
So you can.
So we can go back to journeys now, and we can see back to where we were with our other journeys. Now, Otto is going to also help us in this step where we can actually turn them on. We can edit them if we need, but just by hitting finish. We know we're ready to go. Love the confetti. So, and then it's pushing us back to the action board, right? The place
we're going to get work done.
We're going to get our work done. It really is the productivity hub, I think, is the action board. And, we're hearing that from our customers.
And so Gio, one of his comments was, needing to like refine the journeys so they can be edited, right? We mentioned that.
So actually, let's go back to this. You can, within the journey, if you want an extra step, you would have to stop it. So if it's running, you do have to stop your journey here. And then you can adjust, you can edit each step that's there. Add steps, edit them, delete steps.
So these can be tailored. Like the way we thought about this when we built them is that a lot of our customers probably don't have anything formal that they're doing for these different stages of the life cycle. And so we believe that these are a great starting point. Like if you're not, if you don't have journeys defined, you're not doing it consistently, turn these on and use these the way they're designed.
It can be overwhelming if you
really
don't have a process
if you have to try and if you had to try and build something from scratch, like it's really difficult. But then for an organization like Geo's that's got mature process that they want to follow, they can go in and they can adjust and they can edit that. And that's really, really cool. So tell me now the difference between journeys and then automations.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So the journeys are our pre-built ones. So start here. This is your baseline. Edit and make them, applicable to your organization. But there might be things that are unique for an organization, from another one, where these are, pretty 6 core things that most organizations have. The automations are really your way to create your,
Custom
thank you, there you go, custom, automations and workflows that you want to do. And so one that I think of, so you can track contact information, gift information, activity information, and sometimes those activities are really important as well. We might have a process already in place for some of those things, but activities can be a really cool one to create some automations around. So I'm going to pop into my volunteer hours activity. So your automations can be triggered on contacts, gifts, and activities, the 3 areas you can really track information in DonorDoc. And then you get to pick after the trigger. So mine was an activity has been created. I filtered it to the volunteer type of activity. And then I want some things to happen. Some of them are internal things that I want happening, like creating a badge on my contact, a volunteer. And then, in our organization of Dream Kids, we actually badge potential volunteers. But if I've tracked an activity, I actually want the system to help me do a little cleanup and remove that potential volunteer badge as well too. And then those things are happening right away, but I can also schedule out these steps. So a day later, I have a thank you email already generated with a marketing template that I want to send out, thanking them for their activity. I've personalized it with merge tags and done all of that. Then internally, I'm going to update my marketing list for my volunteer updates that I want to be sending out. So, and then I'm also adding them to an additional marketing list for future opportunities. So I want them to come back. So I'm going to, update that marketing list. And then 30 days later, I have an email with a survey in it because I want to see how our volunteer experience was for them. And then 120 days later, I'm sending them another email to help engage with them further and show them some of the other opportunities that we might have in our organization.
So the automations are essentially an open-ended way for organizations to build out the automated processes they want to follow. This is a really cool one. And I think one of my thoughts right away is like, we're not a full volunteer management system. You can track hours and those types of things. But like what would be neat is, like, let's say you're importing data in from a VMS, this would trigger just like you had sat down and keyed it in manually. So that's pretty neat.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We like to be the one-stop shop for the organizations that works. We can also be that hub and spoke model. But the cool part is that when your CRM or DonorDoc is your kind of source of truth of information, you can then, use all of these tools no matter how it got in there, whether it was from our online giving, email
GoFundMe
marketing,
Pro,
GoFundMe Pro, or, One Cause for Events, whatever it might be, right? We have a lot of great, integrations as well too. So we're here for everyone, right? Awesome. We don't want to leave anybody out.
Well, I love how Otto is kind of like throughout the product too. Like the areas where Otto's touching and helping and doing things, he shows up.
I'd love to show you. Do you mind if we look at another contact record? Okay. I would love, we've talked about Hamel. We've seen Hamel on the action board. Francine is actually friends with Hamel. He is my go-to guy. Hamel Do Good here. I'm going to bring up the record here of Hamel Do Good. And you can see that Hamel's very active with us, right? Okay. I'm in here every day, so is Hamel. So you can see, Hamel's an individual. He's at that donor stage for us. We can also track memberships. That's something else. If you're interested in it, let us know. I'd be happy to talk about that. And then you can also see all of the badges. So this is my segmentation for Hamel. And Otto can use all of this. And you can actually see that Otto's in there as well too. So I have created badges for Hamel for our organization. But Hamel's also in our major donor journey. So Otto has actually added a badge as well. And Otto has put that in purple so that I can see when things are generated by the system rather than by the organization.
And similar, it looks like, in your timeline there.
Yeah, so this is really cool. So we have automations and journeys. And so you can see that this email in our volunteer opportunities we just talked about, this email is coming from my automation that I have created that we just talked about.
And that's new.
And that's new. Yep, it's highlighted in purple and you can see where it came
click over
from.
And see that automation if you wanted to.
And you can see that. Yep, exactly. And then something else that's cool as well Hamel is in that donor journey, and so you can also see if it came from a journey rather than an automation or something that's happening already
And then you
in the
got
system.
the little Otto
I love
icon
it.
to let us know that
Otto's-
that was created
Yep.
by, or he's handling that
Yeah,
for us.
Otto's
right?
going to handle that for us.
Yeah.
So I think it's really nice to be able to see that, because we get that question sometimes about, how do I know if it's going from an automation or where it's coming? And, visually, I'm a visual person. So this like was a light bulb moment for me when I came in and saw this. It's right there in front. And I can see what the system's handling and what I'm, creating as well too.
That's awesome. Well, I think we're at our time for kind of showing the product. Of course, there's more to the product.
Yes.
We have our outreach tools with, email marketing and text marketing. We have the online giving, we have reporting. What I would say is if you're someone that's on with us today that isn't a DonorDoc customer, and you want to learn more about the product, we'd love to talk with you. We'd love to do a demo. So you can go to our website and talk to one of our product specialists. We'll get on a call and learn about you and what your needs are and what you're trying to solve for, and be able to speak to how we might be able to help that. If you're an existing customer and you want more information, Caitlin, Bridget, Carolyn, they're there to help. You're doing trainings on these things, every week essentially.
I say you could see us pretty much every day
day
of the week if you wanted. Yeah. So, I mean, who doesn't want to do that? But you could.
So go to the website. You can definitely find information there. It's under the training and events, or that section of the website. We love to talk with you. So, please join us for those things, and come to learn more and come to share more with us as well. That way we learn, as Gio said, and Noah would talk about, like, and Miguel, we want to listen, we want to learn, and then we want to try and implement what's going to help you get the most important things done every single day. Hopefully this overview of how Otto is sprinkled and built within the foundation of the DonorDoc product is helpful to kind of put that together in your minds, and to come to live trainings to learn more. Do a demo with us if you'd like to learn more, and we'll go ahead and pass it back over to Noah, I think, to kind of take us out today. So,
wow. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Bridget. That was wonderful. I've seen it already. I've seen it multiple times. I've really got the opportunity to spend a lot of time seeing how DonorDoc really streamlines the day-to-day for our nonprofit customers, and will now only improve with Otto's help. So Matt, Bridget, thank you all so much for walking us through that. And thanks everyone again for being here. We're so grateful to celebrate this milestone with you. Everything we showed you today is live in DonorDoc right now. So if you're a DonorDoc customer, you go log in, you'll see Otto on your login screen, and you'll begin seeing everything that Bridget and Matt shared. You don't need a new login. You don't need a training manual. Otto is built in right where you work. And honestly, just go ask Otto how they can help. Otto is ready to help you focus on what matters most and get it done. Plus, one more thing, all customers will now have access to a trial, our latest pro features through September 1st. So definitely go check out that. And we can't wait to see how you partner with Otto to focus on what matters most and get it done together. Now, we've been together for about a little over an hour and a half now, almost. We'd love to answer your questions. So if you have questions, feel free to drop that in the chat. I would love to bring Matt or Bridget, Matt and Andrew back up for Q&A if we're able to do that, because we want to make sure that we're listening to your questions. So if you have questions, we're going to be sticking around for a little bit longer to spend time with you, answering those questions, digging in more on Otto. And we'd love to be able to do that with you all together. For those that can't stick around, as Matt and Bridget said, please, if you're not a DonorDoc customer and you want to dig in to see, how do I partner with DonorDoc? Our team is ready to meet with you. We have nonprofit guides that can come alongside you and figure out what the best approach is, how DonorDoc can fit into your day-to-day workflow, and where Otto can begin helping you and your team focus on what matters most. And again, if you're a customer, just log in and ask Otto how Otto can help you today. So again, thanks everyone for being here. We are going to stick around for Q&A. So if you have questions, feel free to drop that in the chat. If not, we are grateful for you, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your day and get what matters most done. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Matt. Thanks, Bridget. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks, Rob, in the background. Carolyn, our entire team in the chat. We're so grateful for you, Sarah, for the team. So grateful. Toby, Tom, Lee, the entire crew. So thank you again. We'll stick around just for a few more minutes to answer questions. But in the interim, see ya. So Matt, I know someone was asking questions before on like, what does Otto remember about what you talked to it about, a few different things, comparing it to maybe other AI tools.
Yeah.
You already showed one, which was the journeys, but like, how else does Otto kind of remember what you chat with it and kind of give you personalized feedback? And is that across the team, or is that just individually for you as a user?
So it's individual to the user. So like the auto chat feature, for example, we've got that set to remember your chats with it for up to 30 days so that it will have some context to previous chats. I will say that as of this morning, we were seeing a little bit of weird behavior with that. So we're working on that or looking at that right now, but it should be saving those chats for that 30-day period. And that would be per user. So your chat isn't going to show up on someone else's, chat window when they go to talk to Otto. It would just be the chats you've had with Otto. And then the rest of it, honestly, is Otto's always looking at the data within the system when it goes to perform a task, for example. So, if you're doing an Ask Otto, it's looking at data in real time, not like data from a month ago when it's trying to help guide you on what would be the next best step to take with a donor. And so, that there's like real time access, and then there's the history more in the auto chat feature.
That's super great. And thanks again for kind of digging into that. So there's so many nuances here with Otto that I think it is important that we want to be transparent of what Otto can do, what Otto can't do. Where is Otto tapping in? Where is Otto remembering? Because we know that that's important. Security, safety, privacy is a top priority at DonorDoc. And we want to make sure that we're doing that super, super well. And so thanks for stewarding us through that conversation, Matt.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. And when we think about I think somebody had asked earlier about like environmental impacts and those types of things. And they are things that we've looked at and thought about and talked about. And even just our choice of who we're working with, we do all of our hosting in Microsoft's Azure platform, and we're using Azure and OpenAI tools. And there's a strong commitment from those companies to, around the environmental impact piece of that. And so, goals towards renewable, I think like Azure is running on 70% renewable energy today. And then they're, a goal for 100% soon. So definitely things that, are certainly top of mind as we're looking at these tools. And, we're trying to use the vendors that we're most confident and comfortable in that are looking at those things with the right, through the right lens. So.
Yeah. And it's something we'll continue to ask the question. So we're grateful for the individual, I can't remember their name, who asked the question, because we're all learning in real time about this. And we want to be conscious. We want to listen to our customers. We want to listen to what's best and how to serve that well. It was Heather. Yeah. Thanks, Heather. Really appreciate it. Another question that just came up in chat that I can address is, will there be an additional charge for having Otto after the trial period? And one thing is that Otto is included with all plans. And so Otto will be in and around your platform, it'll be doing nudges for you, etc. There are a few features that are now pro features, and there will be additional charges for that that we will discuss with independently. We're trying to make it as accessible as possible, but there are a few features like the chat and the Ask Otto feature on the smart nudges, which are currently pro features. And we will be sharing that pricing with you individually. So if you're interested in that, definitely reach out to your customer success manager, Bridget, or the support team, and we can talk through that with you. Because again, it's customized for your individual usage and plans. And again, because we want to be a budget conscious tool, we want to make sure that it's accessible for the smallest fundraising teams to unlock that. I think it's $20 a month for the entire both users, all the users, all the way up to unlocking and enabling AI or enabling these pro features for your entire team at our professional tiers, our amplified tiers.
Yeah,
And
and I
so-
think that's one thing maybe, Noah, to just touch on is when there may be some people confused when you say it's a pro feature.
Oh, yeah.
Because we used to call our top tier professional.
true.
And we've
Yes.
just recently changed that. And so Noah's not saying you have to go up to that top tier to get these features. I just think that's worth
Yeah, that's a huge point of clarity. Yeah, so Pro is available on all plans. So if you're on our light plans, our essential plans, or if you're a new customer and you're on some of our newer plans, you can get Pro on those plans. And again, we'll be talking to our customers even more and more throughout on how you can get access to this. But what we thought was most important is we wanted everyone to have access to all of this right now in the platform. So if you log in, you can begin working with it. You can begin working alongside and partnering with Otto. You can use Otto Chat. You can ask Otto to do things, journeys, etc. And so that's available to all customers right now. It looks like that's it. Matt or Bridget, do you have anything to close us out as we just wrap up this incredible, momentous event? I know it's been 8 years in the making to kind of get to this point.
You know, from my standpoint, just working with our customers, these are things our customers have been asking for, whether they weren't saying like, I need Otto, you know, that's not what they were saying, but it really does matter to us. So, you know, putting in those ideas, talking to us, coming to training, talking to Caitlin, Carolyn, and I in these conversations, you know, we want you to deepen your relationships with your donors, and we like deepening our relationships with you. We do those same exact things. So I think these are things our customers have been asking for, needing this assistance, and I'm just really proud that our team, you know, can do that, listen to our customers and implement something, and it's cool. So I'm excited to not only train on it, but also use it myself as well too. So I'm just really excited. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about it today with our customers and people on this call, and I can't wait to dive into it a little bit more with all of you. So
Yeah, and I would just say,
Yeah, absolutely.
I would just say again, like, our goal is to help you get what matters most done. So talk to us, let us know how we can do that. Let us know where we can take Otto to continue that relentless pursuit to help you get what matters most done. And it just a very sincere thank you for joining our team today. We've put a lot of time and effort and work into this, and we hope that you see it, use it, love it, and we're just humbled to have you all with us today. So thank you so much for that.
Absolutely. Well, with that, again, thank you all for giving of your time. We can't wait to see how you work alongside and partner with Otto. And we'll see you on the next product launch. It'll be really exciting. Until then, thank you again. Have a great rest of your day.